welcome to the stage founder of Light Harmonics Institute, Dr. Linda Lancaster, and author, artist, and meditation teacher, Elena Brower.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Do I have sound? Do I have sound? Now, how am I doing now? Am I on or off? On. Great. Amazing.
Always on.
Always on. Dr. Linda Lancaster, it's a real honor to be here with you. She's been a doctor for me for the last almost 10 years. She's a naturopathic and homeopathic physician. In 1987, she founded the Light Harmonics Institute in Santa Fe. It's an energy medicine clinic and educational center. It's where I go for acupuncture every week. Her training includes Ayurveda, yoga, medical radiesthesia, radionics. We're going to ask about that. Subtle energy healing, counseling, nutrition, herbal medicine, detoxification methods. She has lots of really fun clients that will remain unnamed. Her life-changing health and cleansing programs have been, they are amazing, have been offered to her patients and their families for nearly 40 years. Her work has changed my life dramatically. I came to Dr. Linda, I was about 47 or so that's like 7-8 years ago, and was kind of a mess, if I'm honest, riven with parasites and inflammation. Within weeks of meeting her, I was doing what's called the milk cleanse, which we'll hear about. I don't eat dairy, except for maybe some sheep's milk. I ended up being told to drink goat's milk for 14 days and take some herbs. And I just handed it over to Dr. Linda. The way that she spoke to me was just incredible. I trusted her completely. By the 4th, 5th day, I was a different person. And we're going to learn about this particular cleanse, but first we're going to learn why it is that our bodies are so stressed out. It's not just your work or your job or your family. It has so many other factors. And Dr. Linda will make this easy for us. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you
and
so
thank
much.
you, Jody, for inviting me.
So I want to start, I'm reading from Harmonic Healing, which is her book that is out. And it's been out for a long time. You can see how many pages are folded and how long I've had it. This is not just a book of her work, it's also a recipe book and a totally full instructions for several different cleanses. Here we go. A state of adrenal stress and exhaustion is extremely common today. Yet what many do not realize is that the causes are not only mental and emotional stress, they also include the bombardment of pollution and interference to the cellular balance and the resulting overreaction of the adrenals. So clearing the polluting interferences regularly to restore the balance of cellular energy and restore the life force, the vital force, is a pivotal aspect of this harmonic healing life. With detoxifying baths, which we're going to ask about, we do our maintenance work on the daily to keep this daily bombardment of pollution down so that we don't reach the tipping point in which organs and systems struggle to keep up with their function or begin a downward spiral. Meanwhile, we also nourish ourselves with good food to strengthen our etheric field. This is a very fun conversation, you guys. I have found that the combination of these two habits, along with lifestyle changes to avoid unnecessary exposures, can allow us to enjoy our lives in this increasingly complex modern milieu. And this is even the case for those who may already be experiencing illness from elevated levels of pollution of all kinds. So calmly and methodically, we are going to talk how to begin bringing these levels down. And this is the talk for today. I'm going to start where none of us want to start, which is with parasites. Oh. I know. No. I'm sorry and I'm not sorry, because it really does make a difference for all of us. The cough that won't go away, raise your hand. I have it. Gas, bloating, or constipation that will not resolve. No longer, but I did. The psoriasis, rash, acne, anybody? You can't even. The fatigue, depression, or irritability that endures, even when the circumstance you thought was causing it changes. Anyone else? Right. So, Dr. Linda, you've come to understand that the most chronic health issues can be tracked to a group of 5 parasites.
Yes.
We would love to hear about them, even though we wouldn't.
Oh, it's just part of nature. Not to be afraid of. So parasites have, from my work, a lot of my work is just watching people and clinical. I'm a clinical scientist. So 5 parasites. What I mean by that is 5 categories. We have I connect it to the 5 elements. I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner. I've always looked at the deeper cause in yoga. We look at the 5 elements. So there's 5 categories, and they're connected to our 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Parasites: worms in the earth, water, fungus. Most of us have a lot of fungus with what's going on, and we can talk about that. Fire is bacteria. The air element is the microscopic parasites, such as the spirochete of Lyme disease. There's a lot of people who I've worked with in New York who dealt with the air element because it has a lot of mental part to it. The air is the mental body. And then there's ether. This ether is connected to viruses. Anybody heard that word recently? Yeah. So when we look at virus, it has to do with the most subtle of all the elements, which is ether. And ether is the message. Ether is the space that gives us the message. So we were bombarded with viruses. And we learned how to trust our innate immune system with viruses. So it's will. Everything to do with will is virus. So these 5 parasites, all of them are not fixed with the milk cleanse, by the way. When I talk about parasites, I have these other parts, other categories. But the worms and the microscopic parasites, they are cleared with the milk cleanse. And I have seen it time after time. I've treated many, many people with Lyme disease. In fact, our company, the milkcleanse.com, is focused on that. So we have the 5 categories.
Yep.
And there is an emotional part to each of those categories.
If you could talk a little bit about environmental mold and the emotional aspect of that and how that plays out in the body, that would be very helpful. I think there are some people here who are wondering about that.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to that. But the water element is where the fungus is. And when there is fungus, there is a lot of emotional unrest. Because you get emotional with your illness. You get emotional that you're never going to clear this.
Yeah.
And I can tell you it takes time. I have seen, when I work with candida, for instance, and fungus and mold, it takes a good 9 months to clear it. So don't try to be upset about it. Oh, I'm not getting better, I'm not getting better. That works on your emotional state. But mold in particular, when it's in the house, is because there's too much radiation. We'll always, if you change the environment, my teacher always said, if you change the environment, the condition no longer exists. So we have to change our environment. What's our environment? We're bombarded with electromagnetics, with all the technology that we are bombarded with. We have Negative thinking, a lot of negative thinking, that affects us, so we change our environment. The mold will always be there unless you clear the radiation and clear the space in the house.
If somebody in this audience were to, has anyone ever found mold in your environment? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
So.
San Francisco, New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When one is either moved out of the space or has mitigated it in the space, in the walls, in the ceilings, whatever, what is your next step to mitigating mold in the body?
Fungus needs to not be fed, so off the sugar, off the bread, anything with yeast. It's the same treatment as we use for candida, actually. And bring the oxygen back. Do breathing. Breathing is really important. You can heal yourself through breath. I worked for many years, 18 years in Sri Lanka in a free clinic. And we had no money because it was a free clinic. So what we did was we taught the patients breathing. We used homeopathy, which is a cheap medicine. We did hands-on healing. And we just taught them to trust that they're going to get better, and they did. We did acupuncture, homeopathy, and breathing. And we healed many, many diseases with that. Full-blown diseases that I never saw before. Full of psoriasis, full of worms. And I had to use homeopathy. So my people who don't want to do the milk cleanse, I use homeopathy. No, well, I do, because some of them are little kids.
Yeah.
So I can't put them on milk for 8 days, not 14.
I thought it was 14.
No.
It was 8 days.
8 days.
I'm coming I'm coming in for another one soon.
Anybody can do that.
I promise.
It's safe.
One of the things that you talk about a lot is that parasites can only live in systems where there is a weakened context, a weakened
environment.
A weakened environment, thank you.
Yes.
How do we strengthen our environment so that parasites do not thrive in that environment?
Yes. First of all, we have to, how we change the environment. Let's look at heavy metals. Let's look at chemicals. We use therapeutic baths for the heavy metals and chemicals. We use therapeutic baths for the radiation. So we start to dissipate that so that we have our vital force back. The body has cells, and these cells are positive and negative. They're like batteries. We have little batteries inside, positive, negative. And if it's too much heavy metals, we lose the electrical charge. If we have too much radiation, we have too much charge, and that's when inflammation comes in. So we have these little batteries in our body, and it emanates. This emanation of the cells is actually the etheric force field. That etheric force field is necessary to give good food. That's one of the best ways to treat your etheric body, because food has ether. It's the resonance of the food that actually heals us. However, if the food is GMO, if it's full of pesticides, full of chemicals, the frequency of food diminishes and actually makes us sick. We are nature. We have to heal through nature. It is our only way of healing. I hear a lot of methods of using techniques and so forth, but really, we need to nourish ourselves in that way. So the food, to strengthen the etheric body. Then hold a tree. Connect with nature. Meditate. Do your breathing. And do your baths. Clorox baths. Half a cup of Clorox in a tub of water. Soak in it for 20 to 30 minutes. It will neutralize the heavy metals. Look at the faces. Apple cider vinegar.
I'm going to tell you about the Clorox bath in a second. Don't worry.
Yeah, apple cider vinegar will clear chemicals. Radiation. We am bombarded with radiation. So what do? Pound of sea salt, a pound of baking soda in a tub of water and soak in it for 20 minutes. Doesn't sound so bad, right? So you put a candle on, 20 minutes, you're in the bath. Clorox or apple cider or salt and soda. They will remove the environmental pollution. Once it's removed, it'll keep coming, so don't stop the baths. This is lifestyle. You know, I wrote a book about lifestyle. We are, with what has gone on, 80% of the population is sick. With what's going on, we have to detox and eat a clean life, have a clean life, in order for us to be well. It's not get well, because healing is a process. It's being well. And how we stay healthy is actually to take care of these culprits. And the culprits are there because we're out of balance. And they're giving us a message. So that's the message. Take care of yourself. And continue to live a lifestyle that continues to detox, because healing is a process. It doesn't happen and stay that way. We have to continue.
Clorox bleach is actually just an oxygenating salt. It's NaCl. You remember from chemistry?
NH2.
No. It's vat electrified. NaCl is vat electrified. It becomes bleach. It's sodium hypochlorite. So when you sit in a pretty large tub with a half a cup of bleach in it, you're actually drawing all of the heavy metals out of your body.
We are actually neutralizing through the ionization of the change of temperature.
So it's the salt and soda that brings it out.
Well, no.
Okay.
No. The Clorox bath is sodium hypochlorite. We started with sodium chloride, put it in a vat of water, put electrical probes in there, and it became oxygenated. So now we have an oxygenated salt bath. So this oxygen will neutralize because of the frequency of the oxygen. Because the heavy metals are low frequency. We want to actually energize it and find balance. The salt and soda bath is radiation, because that's alkaline. The radiation is highly acid. Mm-hmm. So we use sea salt and baking soda.
You mentioned also in one of our talks some time ago that the electric part and the magnetic part of the battery, that is our cell,
yes,
is also the acid and alkaline. And
or electromagnetic,
right,
also.
And also power and love.
Yes, I did say that. It is the balance between power and love that we are dealing with every day of our life. At least I am. I have to. So it is the balance between power and love. And the power is the electric and the love is magnetic. So no good to have too much love and no good to have too much power. You know, I question people who always smile. Everything's great. You know, let's get real. It's the power between those two energies.
Yeah.
Acid, alkaline, electricity is power. Magnetism is love. So yes, and it's one element.
On page 181 of the book, we talk a lot about addressing shock, dissolving blocks in the subtle bodies. And I think that's a relevant situation for right now. I didn't prepare her with the questions I was going to ask.
I had no idea. I was supposed to just stand and talk, but I wanted to honor my dear, dear friend, Elena Brower.
Thank you. So each of us in some way are going through some kind of shock at this moment. Whether you think that's true or not, it's definitely happening. We're all kind of being forced through a portal of information, of pollution, as Dr. Linda mentioned, of electromagnetic fields that we are not choosing to be swimming in. And this is the cause of shock in the body. And it's also, of course, if somebody has died or there's a trauma in your field or something is happening where your heart is being broken. These are all shocks. And Dr. Linda, you talk about, you literally give us instructions for attending to shock that can be used any time you choose to do a cleansing program or during even the maintenance phase. You say, if you have had anxiety, stress, or a traumatic experience such as a divorce or a heartbreak, a bankruptcy, a death of a loved one, an acute injury or illness, you most likely have a level of shock in your subtle field. We don't necessarily need to focus on why the shock is there or why events in the past occurred the way that they did. What we want to do is release the shock so that our subtle energy can flow.
I rarely find anyone without shock in their system. You could be 3 years old and something was told to that 3-year-old, and they'll maintain that shock until it clears. That's why I tell mothers, please give your kids rescue remedy whenever they're upset, because you want to keep that energy moving.
Do you know what rescue remedy is?
Oh my goodness.
Great. So raise your hand if you don't know what rescue remedy is.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, good.
This is Bach Flower Remedies. Dr. Bach put these 5 flower remedies together, and it's non-invasive. It actually works on the whole body, and it clears shock. So.
And it's something that Dr. Linda teaches us in the book, that it's a combination of 5 flowers, can be taken 3 to 4 times daily for any current or past shock to the physical, emotional, or mental body, especially to children. She gives it after injuries because it calms the subtle fields. And most of us don't know about this. When I was younger, in like the 80s, 90s, I was always seeing the little yellow label on rescue remedy in every health food store. So you can still find it, it's just harder to find. You can definitely get it on Amazon.
Let's talk about, so we know how to clear it. Just take some rescue remedy. Everybody knows, well, all of our people know.
Right.
But shock, what is it? It's the body's way of putting a black veil in front of us and saying, I've had enough. I can't go any further. So you begin to learn how to live within the shock energy. So first thing is to acknowledge it, because we all have gone through it. I mean, just the pandemic alone, everybody's in shock from that. I also made a remedy called Shock, which is a group of homeopathic remedies. And I think the first place to begin is to acknowledge, I'm in shock. I can't believe that happened. Let's let it go. My friend Ramdas said, be here now. It's the past. Let the past go and be here now. So we can clear shock, and that's what it is.
Yes.
And
there are a couple of other practices that you speak about in the book. Page 180, 179, we're talking about breathing.
by the way, this book was written in 2019, right before pandemic. I'm writing another book, but okay.
It's still totally relevant.
It's so totally relevant, they're still buying it.
Yeah.
It's amazing, it shocks me. Give me the rescue remedy.
I'm still reading it like crazy. Hydration guidelines. I want to talk about. I just want to be
that's
super
a tough
relevant
one.
for us.
That is such a tough one, with all the plastic bottles, people walking and drinking plastic in water bottles. How do we hydrate? It's a really hard one.
I know.
The Ayurvedic way of drinking water is not to drink it all day long. Mm-hmm. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. I'm not a believer in that. We should be drinking water before we eat our meal. First thing in the morning, drink your water. Please, don't put a cup of coffee in there first. Drink your water. That's number one. Then you drink water before and during your meal, and then for 2 hours, don't drink water. Think of it as your stomach is your pot cooking on the stove. So you pour the water in and you let it get warm. Then you let the food go in and then you put the lid on it and let it digest. So this idea of drinking water all day long is not a good idea because you're diluting at that point. So the Ayurvedic way is the way I was taught by one of my great teachers from India.
And the other thing is you would never wash your dishes in cold water, right? If they were really caked on, greasy, right? No, you use hot water, right?
Yeah, and hot water is very good.
First thing in the morning, like 32 ounces of hot water with a little bit of lemon or lime.
I like to put ginger in it also. Ginger.
On a mandolin,
I like to put a cinnamon
really thin.
stick. I like to put some lemon. And if I feel like it, a little honey. Yeah. Little honey. Not a tablespoon. So the
and then
water
warm
is
water
important.
when you're eating also before and during
meal,
before you put the lid on.
Yes, before you put the lid on, let it cook.
Yes.
So
Thank you for that.
makes it easier than carrying water around. I understand, but
What do you have an opinion on what type of water bottle is the best one to carry around if we have choices?
These days you have choices, I know. Glass. I like the glass ones. I like stainless steel and copper.
Okay. Copper, tell us more.
Well, copper is an antibacterial, so it really does help the water. It's good. Water is my most difficult subject because most people are not drinking very good water. So I have an idea of what to tell you now as I'm thinking. Bless the water. Bless the water. Get the healing love vibration into your water so it will bypass the plastic. But you have to really believe in it, and that takes understanding subtle energy. Subtle energy has to do with the divine energy coming in through the etheric force field because ether is the most subtle of all the elements. So connecting with, first acknowledging that there is something greater than us. And then in awe, we bless the water because we're God within.
Thank you. Breathing in conscious breath. We talked about this previously as a way to actually enhance and clear. I'd love to hear about your own practices or anything that you would recommend for us living in this world as we do.
You know, I'm a Gemini, so I'm always changing.
Good. Fantastic.
You know, it's the truth. I like to, in the morning, do my breathing. And I like to take a deep breath in and feel it all the way down through my abdomen. And then blow it out through my mouth. Let it go. Let it go. So I do breathing in between patients, during patients, so I'm always breathing. And I have to catch myself. Oh my God, I'm not breathing. What? And I tell my patients, you've got to breathe. Keep breathing, because that's where we're getting. So it's from the ether to the air, to the fire, to the water, to the earth. And you talked about the death experience, and that's how you go through the death experience, by going through the 5 elements.
Thank you.
The hardest one to get out of is the water when you're dying. I wrote a lot on dying, but I didn't think it was the right time.
Next time.
Next time.
Making sleep a priority. You talk about that a lot in your work, and I'm on page 180 now. Sleep habits, priorities that we're juggling. You recommend that we get to bed as close to 10 p.m. as possible. Whomever I see tonight at 10 p.m. on the dance floor, we're just going to give each other a little high five and enjoy the shit out of the evening. The liver, Here's the important part. The liver does much of its detoxification as well as the brain. I want to talk about both behind the scenes while we're sleeping. And that's why it's so important. And I think it's never too repetitious to hear the functions and processes of what's happening while we're sleeping from someone who knows. So share with us if you feel.
Well, sleep. We get our best sleep before midnight. So it's a good idea to go to sleep at least by 10, because you'll get your deepest energy there. Sleep is something that is a gift. A lot of people have problems sleeping these days. It's because the liver is toxic. Because the liver is the organ that has our will. The will is in the liver. The liver is one of our highest energies to connect to our body. Because what does the liver do? I'm going to talk about the liver. I think I need to do that. Because the light harmonic healing was written about the liver, not about the milk cleanse, but that's the result of is what happens when we're all stuck. The parasites come in.
Wait, did you guys hear that? When we get stuck and stagnant, the parasites can come in. It's not that they're constantly there, it's that when we are weakened, they can actually live and thrive.
Yeah. So the liver does a lot of, it's our factory. It metabolizes protein, it metabolizes carbohydrates, it metabolizes fats. So those are very important if you're going to digest your food. And very often I see livers that are not metabolizing, it's like zero metabolizing. And that's when the body becomes toxic. Because we're eating even good food. If the body is not processing, we're having problems. So the liver is filled with the ability to connect with the higher force fields. It is the will of the body. So we have to get our liver working well. And I recommend a liver cleansing diet and then a modified one, and then things are pretty good. And if they're not good, it's because you have parasites. But what happens with the liver is it has to deal with heavy metals and radiation and chemicals. So those are the interferences. And then the culprits come in. These culprits, the 5 categories that I explained. So I think that sleep is very important, but you can't get it if your liver is not functioning well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One of the things you talk about, I'm on page 98 now, is how the poorly emulsified fats make their way into lymph, and they cause congestion in our lymphatic circulation, which allows the toxins to accumulate in the tissues, which inhibits the circulation of immune cells, which then can trap parasites.
Those damn parasites.
Damn it. You talk about dry skin brushing, and I want to talk about that because that's kind of
that's the lead-in.
A hot topic. That's the lead-in. I want to understand it from your perspective. Some people say it doesn't do anything whatsoever, and some people say it's one of the most amazing and cheapest things that we can do for our overall health on a daily basis.
I like cheap things because I treat a lot of people who don't have a lot of money, and I treat a lot of people who have billions of dollars. So I'm like on that trajectory. I like to do things that anybody can do, and dry brushing is one of the best. You brush with a natural bristle brush up through towards the heart, up through. These lymph nodes do not move unless you jump, unless you do yoga, and unless you swim. The way to move it is through the brush because you open up the gates. So these little lymph nodes have gates, and we have to open up the gates so they don't get stuck. Why are they stuck? Because the fats got in there from the liver because the liver wasn't processing the fats. So now it goes out into the bloodstream and into the lymphatic system full of fats. So you have to physically move the fats and change this process of not digesting fats. When I look at fats, I look at the love in our life, because what is fats? It's the warmth element. We have to be able to digest the warmth element. People think food and digestion is just very physical. It is not. It is part of consciousness, is to be able to digest your food. It is a conscious process. And so we do that.
Should take less than 5 minutes to accomplish. Really good to do before you take a shower or a bath.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a tub to do it, but it's nice if you do.
Yes, it's very nice to do it. And you get to like it, actually. It takes time. It doesn't even take 5 minutes.
No.
5 minutes is a lot of time in my life. I don't have that much left, right? I mean, I'm in that part of my life. I've been practicing for 44 years.
Thank you. The entire back of the book is a cookbook, basically. And if you think, oh my God, I have a shelf full of cookbooks, I'm never going to look at it, I just want to say, like, this is the one that I actually use. It's so practical. It just has a bunch of really good recipes. And whether you're doing the cleanses or not, the recipes are practical and easy for anyone, even if you don't fancy yourself a cook.
You know, I thought this conversation was going to be subtle, and we're right down to basics here.
The truth is, we all need this. We all need to, like, there's a whole section on dressings, dips, and condiments. Like, who doesn't want that? I want that. I want to make good dressings.
I want to talk about the chakras and the balance between the electromagnetic field and how to energize ourselves so that we can do the work that we're meant to be. I love treating patients because I try to imbibe in them to live their life fully, to be who they are. But they say, I don't feel good, Dr. Linda. What am I going to do? Okay, just do this. Get light harmonic healing, read the book, and then be compliant, and then everything will work out. We'll clear the shock, we'll do the baths, we'll eat the good foods, the clean foods, and we'll keep our balance between power and love. Questions? Questions? Oh,
we have a question over here. There's a mic runner who's coming, so hold for 1 second. Thank you so much. Right there.
What is your take on alcohol?
On alcohol?
Drinking it.
Oh, everything is in moderation. I do the middle road. I think alcohol for some people can be very dangerous, and it can really affect the liver. So I have been known, I'm half Italian, so I have been known to have a Brunello in my house and at a celebration serve that bottle. So I'm not against it. I'm for celebration. And I figured Jesus drank wine, I could drink it once in a while. On Sundays, whatever. So,
other questions?
Yeah. So it depends on the person. Everything is individual. We are like snowflakes, and we're all different. So for some people, it's fine, as long as they're not addicted. You have to be able to say no. The addiction is the thing, but we can talk about that another time.
Hi, over here. Thank you so much for sharing your rituals and recommendations for us. For those of us that find ourselves sensitive to dairy, I know Ayurvedic practice, which I've also studied for fun, is very heavily dairy oriented and believes that no one is really lactose intolerant. Do you believe that? Is there a way to sort of cure ourselves of dairy sensitivity, or should we be modifying some of these processes?
Okay. That's a complicated question, but I'm going to try to answer it very quickly, and I'm grateful for the question. Many times people think they're allergic to milk or dairy because the worms are very active and they get very excited. Oh, she's giving us milk. She's giving us dairy. Yay. And they start getting active. That's why we have the milk cleanse, because we give them the milk so that they come out and eat the parasite formula and go out the back door, right? And then there's another part. There, in homeopathy, I'm a homeopath, there's something called a tubercular miasm. I'm sorry I didn't get into the homeopathy.
Yeah.
But tubercular miasm, most people with the tubercular miasm, which is genetics, this MTHFR factor that some people have, that is really tubercular. Now, the cow carries tuberculosis on the planet. So the residence of the tuberculosis in the cow causes them to be allergic because their essence is tubercular. Yeah, it gets involved. I didn't know where I was going, but I just love to go into these deep dives into.
And also, I can't eat dairy. I really don't, except for sheep and goat sometimes. And ghee seems to be fine for me. So if you want to play with something that actually lubricates your interior systems, ghee could be interesting to play with and see.
The butter or the ghee is fat, and that is not what causes the problem. It's the casein.
The casein.
Yeah,
which
so
is,
you can have butter.
For those of us who don't know what casein is.
It's the problem with the milk and why we're allergic. Some people are allergic. I'm not allergic to that, but.
Okay, we had another question right here, green shirt.
Both were a moment ago about alcohol, and just a bit earlier, in various aspects, you've talked about the liver and the deleterious health impacts of liver impairment. What are the best 1 or 2 or 3 things one can do to help your liver?
Oh,
nettles.
Well, the liver cleansing diet. Get your body to digest your food again. Eat clean food. Nothing processed, nothing contaminated. You have to, why? Because the food has to have an etheric force field, because we are ether. We are nature. And how we feed it is through food that has a life force. So we may be thinking we're eating broccoli in a restaurant, but if it's not organic, it is actually causing the problem. So
the turkey jerky?
Yeah. Well, because it's processed, you mean?
I'm just wondering because I happen to like it.
Oh, well, we can get a good one. Okay. Yeah. So clean up your liver, and then that you'll be able to process even the alcohol. It's the overindulgence in alcohol that I have a problem with. But the liver is the most important organ because it's our factory. And it's our will. It's our will for higher knowledge.
Also nettles. I drink a lot of nettle tea for liver support, and milk thistle is another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Yes?
Thank you for all of the advice. I'm wondering, I have to travel a lot. I'm a householder, I run a business, and I cannot live a completely clean, perfect life, especially water. So how much of it is a mental, subtle game?
When you're on the road, bless your food. There's a lot to be said about blessing, because if we have a frequency, we're not just here, we're here. So if we put the food in our frequency and acknowledge where it came from, and acknowledge the hands that have prepared it, you're going to get the nourishment you need. Not all that, when you can, you do what you can do at home, because if you have a family, you want to be able to do that. Yeah. So do your baths. If you're on that plane, 25,000 feet, take the salt and soda bath. Okay.
Afterward.
I think we're out. We're off. We're off the air. But I'll be around. Oh.